Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again with another episode, the final episode of my Nations United series with the Canadians of Kaiserslautern. FIFA 20 is upon us. FIFA 20 has basically arrived, which means it is time to close this chapter as we look to begin anew with FIFA 20. So today, we will be finishing this series, this final season, as we continue to focus on the Bundesliga and the Champions League. And hopefully, we end up getting a satisfactory conclusion to this series. The first thing I want to mention as we get into setting everything up here and moving forward, the first thing I want to mention, and really it's more, I guess it is more of a question. For those of you that have stuck with this series, first and foremost, thank you. Greatly appreciated. I love FIFA Career Mode, even with the lack of changes over the year. Still as addicted to it as ever. But my question to you is, heading into FIFA 20, what are we thinking we want to do? Because I'm not against running a series similar to this, just with a different nation. Now, obviously, the idea behind this series being, based with Canada is obviously I'm a hockey channel, first and foremost, so I knew that would have the most appeal. But we obviously have quite a few different options. I mean, the nation's option is there. The Youth Academy run in general is an option. In terms of doing anything that's, say, just down to, I guess, what we would call a straightforward run in NHL, as far as it just being like, okay, I'm using this team and I'm going forward. I don't know how much appeal that has compared to doing kind of a challenge series like this. So that's the main thing I want to ask you here at the start is let me know down in the comments, what are we thinking for FIFA 20? Because I am absolutely down for keeping career mode as a feature on this channel, and I'm excited for 20, absolutely. So let me know what you think. With that said and out of the way, and with that training session out of the way, the international break is over, and we are good to go. So as mentioned, the second team, or really as established, the second team will be playing that Champions League matchup against Spartak, which is tough, but we are prioritizing the league over the Champions League. I feel like that's the better way to go. 7 points through 11 points through 7 games thus far isn't exactly the desired start. So the pressure is already on a little bit. Of course, we recalled Cooper last time out to try and get this team into better shape. We are going to get probably Morgan. I'm thinking we get Morgan into the team. Let's bring on Sullivan, and let's bring on Olsen. See what happens. I'm cool with giving some other people a chance, especially if there are those that are in poor form. I'm cool with giving other people an opportunity to try and be successful. So James is going to move up to CDM, and we're going to run Sullivan as a striker today. Let's get Evans onto the bench for the hell of it, and we'll see what this team's capable of. So obviously, at the very least, we've found some success in this series. That's safe to say. We made it to the Bundesliga. We've been in the Champions League now 2 years running. We won the Europa League. Let's sim the rest of this. Jesus. Whether or not we win the Bundesliga or the Champions League, to me, that isn't going to define success for us in the series. And if we're losing to Hertha Berlin 2-0 at home, we're probably likely to not find the levels of success I'm hoping for, or, the previous mentioned levels of success in terms of winning those two competitions. But still, all in all, it's been a pretty good run. And this Champions League match is actually very important because a loss here, granted we'd only be halfway done with our games, but a loss here would be pretty rough and would put the pressure on us to get the job done. So we need a big effort here for the boys against Spartak, and the majority of the team's in good form. We're going to give Taylor an opportunity to snap out of his poor form It's pretty much going to be the case across the board. The majority of the team is in poor form right now. That's telling. So we're going to go with the big three there in the middle. And I don't know if I'm feeling this. I don't know if I'm feeling this setup here. I gotta be honest. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna move you over there. We're gonna move you up here. We're gonna go with a 2-striker set. This is a very aggressive formation, but we are going to try it. So nope, that's not what I wanted. We want Cooper there, Kerr up top with Jonathan David, and we'll see how that goes. Again, this is a very aggressive approach, but the good thing is the team, for the most part, is in good fitness levels for the most part, so we should be okay to run this slightly more aggressive approach. So as far as the midfield is concerned, we have a cam option, we have a wing option with Sullivan. Let's get White back onto the bench, and actually, you know what, we're going to go with Moore and Morgan just to be a little bit more aggressive. That is going to be the team. Larry Kerr, I believe, played 28 games, did not score a single goal last year, but we need to put the pressure on Spartak, sink or swim in the Champions League. They lost their first 2 games. If we lose here, Braga has a huge advantage. Cooper scores early, but ultimately, it's a draw, 2-2, and I'm not optimistic. I'm not optimistic for our chances here. That's pretty brutal. That's pretty brutal. A 2-2 draw. So right now we're in 8th in the Bundesliga, and unless Braga screws up, the Champions League is looking rather unlikely. So we're going to go back to Cooper for this game. Let's get Park in over there. And aside from that, Taylor and James are both in poor form, but I think we're still going to run with, in theory, the best team possible in terms of rating. And we'll just go for it, swing for the fences here, and hope for the best. So we'll bring on Sullivan there, and that looks okay to me. That'll be the team moving forward. We're just going to keep throwing the best team out there whenever we can, at least if their fitness levels are up. We play Wolfsburg, who are currently in 6th. We are winless thus far in this episode. We need to start putting some wins together if we're going to find success. And there we go. It's a win by the narrowest of margins, but it's a win nonetheless. Moore gets the only goal of the game in the 85th minute as we beat Wolfsburg. Not sure how far up the table we would have moved. To be honest, I really shouldn't even worry about training for the most part. We are done here after all, after this. Although I suppose I'll keep the save file, of course, and maybe revisit it someday in my own time. But we'll see what happens here against Hoffenheim. I don't think we're going to be starting the first team. I mean, they just snapped out of it. You know, the poor form pretty much across the board. So let's go. Import team sheet. And we are going to run the second team with everyone that was on the bench. So we'll go, god damn it, we'll go playa. Not play 2. We'll go playa. Let me make sure that's the one that we're editing. Oh, this is the autosave. Oh, the autosave. There we go. Had to make sure we were editing the right one. So, Taylor is going to be back in. And, yeah, let's see what we can do here. So, Kerr is in. Sullivan's in. White is in. Cooper is in. We need another striker. That's going to be Bliska. And the winger is going to be Evans. That's pretty straightforward. So the other Evans moves up. Olsen, Kerr, and we can leave whoever the hell we want, really. Let's get Michaels onto the bench for the moment. Let's go with Cameron, Sullivan, Clark, and this dude. So overall, let's actually get we'll keep Taylor there. He's in better. Actually, we'll go with James. We'll go with James. We'll keep Michaels on the bench for no reason whatsoever, just so I don't have to start anybody else. So there we go. The current second team of players who will hopefully get a result here. Not exactly holding my breath. That actually does leave Kerr in up top. I just realized that. Well, guess what? We're going to go with Cooper here. And let's have Larry Kerr on the bench. That is a team. That's the best way to describe it. Actually, was Kerr? I'm losing my mind right now. Kerr was in, right? No, that's right. Moore was up top. Never mind. I was mistaken. We were actually fine the way we were. There we go. Perfect. I was going to say, like, wait a minute. Why is he's not on full fitness? He must have played. No, he was a sub. So let's see what we can do against Hoffenheim. We have won the DFB Pokal as well. Can't forget that. Winning the German Cup. Quite the achievement. We will not be winning it this year. We scored very early and got absolutely crushed from there. So in terms of the 3 competitions we were involved in this season, we have already been bounced from one of them, which doesn't surprise me all that much. Let's be honest here. So we will not be winning the DFB Pokal in our final season. Let's take a look here, though. Second team, just make sure indeed it is our top options. And we'll see that this team that was able to get a result, if they are able to get another one here. Home game against Stuttgart. We certainly have the talent to win this one. It's just a matter of whether or not we do, and we don't. Morgan scores the only goal. That much of an attacking focused, setup, shape for this team, yet we still fall short. Very frustrating. Only get 1 goal against Stuttgart in that situation, as Andrew Moore will never be signed. So, and Kenneth Michaels, you go ahead and you complain about the playtime, buddy. You go right ahead. Training-wise, to be honest, we're fine. We're fine. I'm not going to bother. Might be able to get Kerr up another overall point or 2 throughout the year. I'm not too concerned. Probably 2 or 3, if we're being honest. I'm not too concerned. So we are playing Spartak. The first team is looking okay. Although, God, what do we do here? I'm just worried that the attack might not be what I really want it to be. And I do wonder, how is Sullivan's pace? Even Sullivan's pace isn't that good. Cooper was the guy who had just a boot and a half last year. We're going to move him back into the starting mix. We'll have Morgan on the bench. And actually, Cooper does have a cannon. I'm just wondering, what's Moore's pace compared to Sullivan? Sullivan's a bit better. And Morgan's even better than that. So my thought here is that we move Clark behind the strikers. I'm going to move Davies over here. And let's try Sullivan out on the left. We're pretty much just going to throw whatever we can at the wall, see what sticks. Hopefully something does, and we can make a good run. We need to win this game on the road. Otherwise, our Champions League dreams are going to end fairly quickly as well, and it's another draw. It took a late goal, 88th minute, from Cooper just to get us that point. So the Champions League, it's not looking too good for us. We've already been bounced from the German Cup, and we currently sit 7th in the league with 24 games to go. Will we find success? I do not know. So taking a look here, I mean, Cooper did score, so it's tough to say. Tough to say he shouldn't be an option. I just wonder if going with a bit more of a midfield would help, but obviously the thought is, hey, strikers, score some goals, please. A bit more of an attacking setup, and it's not looking too good thus far. So let's see. Best options. Best options. Let's get Clark back up top. And you know what? Let's try something. Let's try something. What's the worst that could happen? What is the worst that could happen? That is going to be the setup. I really do want to get Russell Kerr back into this lineup at some point. The lack of games eventually going to be an issue to the point where we'll just play whoever's in good form and see if we can get wins that way. Tough road game against Leverkusen. Jonathan David hurt at the end. We lose 2-0. And this final season might not be one to remember. David's out only for a week, thankfully. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. But right now, things aren't going that well for us, if we're being honest. Still in 8th. Bayern's below us, which is typically a good sign. I can't help it. I got to get Kerr up there. Him and his 94 damn finishing. Talk about someone who should be able to score goals when playing, and instead he's in poor form. But there's got to be a key to unlocking this team and getting them to play at their true potential. What that is, I don't know, because we certainly haven't found it yet. And I don't know if we will. So as far as this team is concerned, we have so many people who are in poor form right now. It's pretty frustrating. So you often want to play people to give them a chance to snap out of it. I don't know if that's going to happen. So I'll tell you what. What if we attempt a different strategy here? Let's just move Cooper over here for a second. Let's move Jonathan David over here, and we'll put you right about here. And let's have Kerr. Why can I not put Kerr up top? That's okay. Well, that strategy didn't work, did it? Ram. I should be able to put him as a striker. I mean, I guess too many people are forward. Hold on. All right. I'm not feeling this. What is the key to winning with this team? That is the question. We should, in theory, have offensive firepower. But Larry Kerr's not scoring goals. Jonathan David is. Davies and Clark don't get as involved as I'd preferred them to be, and I'm not sure if it's because we have not a narrow formation, but a wider formation. They're just not getting in front as much as we need them to, which makes me think that maybe, just maybe, this is a way to get people a little bit more involved and we don't run a cam. So let's have James, let's have White, and I'm thinking Kerr as well. And we're going to see if this little setup here works, even though the vast majority of people are in poor form. But I don't see that changing anytime soon, just because a lot of these guys, it's like, okay, when the hell are we even going to get you playing time? So we don't have a ton of defensive replacements, but we'll do what we can. So let's get more, and we'll take it from there. Let's see if this works. Screw it. I mean, it kind of sucks. We're at the point where it's like, okay, we're struggling. Let's throw a random formation out there, see if we can get a result. You'd like to think we'd be beyond that point, considering how deep into this series we are. You would have liked to have thought, like, okay, these are our go-to guys. This is our go-to formation. We're good to go. But we have had to continue to tinker over these past few seasons. We do beat Frankfurt. Late goal for them to get one back, but it wasn't enough. Mathis and Russell Kerr with the goal. So very nice to see Kerr scoring. And that'll bring us into this game. Now, thankfully, Braga have completely slipped up, and Man City are running away with this group. So if we beat Braga here, we're looking okay and should still be able to control our own destiny in the Champions League, because you'd expect Moscow to lose to Man City. So a win here, and we should be okay, even though our last game is against Man City. So this is must win if we want to find any sort of success in the Champions League this year. So let's do it. The away leg against Braga, we're leaving it up to chance. They lost 7-1 combined in their 2 games against Man City. So this is it. They score a minute in and then miss a penalty in the 3rd. So that's tremendous. Great start. Great start. Can we please score a goal? High-powered offense. Where are you? Davies, David, Clark. You know, the trio there. Does that ring a bell at all? Half an hour left. Anybody? Please. We're getting shut down by Braga. Clark scores, but we really need another one. And we're not going to get it. So it's a draw against Braga, which means heading into the final game of the group stage, we need to beat Man City, and Spartak Moscow need to do us a little bit of a favor. So we are absolutely out of the Champions League, is what I'm telling you. So that's fun. That's just fucking great. It's not. It's actually incredibly annoying. So, with that... Oh, God. Like, really? We scored 1 friggin' goal against Braga? How is that possible? 1 goal against Braga. We should be better than that. I'm probably just going to throw a random 3 at the back formation out there, and we're going to see what happens. Because why not? I say. So we are going to go with Park, Gagnon, and Mathis out there. Taylor and James will probably both take a seat. Although in fairness, Gagnon could just play the left wing. And Mathis could play the right. That might not be the worst way to go. Maybe just go with our big front 3. Get Gagnon and Mathis out there. Clark and Davies there. It doesn't look terrible. Whether or not it'd be successful, now that's an entirely different question. My thought was to put more out on the wing and say Morgan or Sullivan. But we can absolutely throw this at the wall to see if this will stick. Screw it. The next attempt. Why not? Is there a formation that can see us win 2 games in a row? That's all I'm asking for. 2 in a row. Is it possible? I don't know if it is. But we're about to find out. Again, we are likely to be booted from the Champions League. So we need to go all in and find whatever formation is going to work. Now, this is not the ideal fixture. As they score 2 minutes in. This is not the ideal fixture because Hoffenheim does have a decent offense. And even with 3 at the back, we can't score goals. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. And really, I mean, it sucks to say, but it is kind of the story of the team. And that is that at so many points, this team has underperformed and not made the most of their opportunities for success. I mean, we've done everything that we could to try and set this team up for success whenever I could. But unfortunately, I mean, it just hasn't happened. So we're going to sit the people who are in poor form and throw anybody else out there who wants an opportunity to try and make this happen. So I have no idea what the hell this lineup's going to be. I think it's going to be a back line of that trio. And in terms of the midfield, who the hell knows? That is my honest response. Who the hell knows? And Jonathan David's not scoring goals, so that's great. Let's get Davies out on the left. Clark out on the right. Let's get Beliska up top to give him a chance. Cooper, and we will give Evans a chance as well. And then in the middle, actually, let's put Cooper and Evans there. And we're going to go with Sullivan and Moore. You know what? Screw it. Morgan can play too. Who's the best shooter of the bunch? Sullivan, apparently. Let's see what happens. Screw it. Throwing anything at the wall that we possibly can. I'm cool with that. Yeah, Sullivan up top, sure. Let's do it. We're playing Bremen. The Bremen. This, I don't know if I should say should be a win, but it could be. It's not. It's another draw because they score in the 88th minute. And already, I'm thinking this is going to be a shorter episode than it should be. Because, I mean, if it's evident that we're not going to win the league, then why bother? Why bother sticking with it? It would suck to end this episode on a whimper like that. But we do what... Oh, son of a bitch, hit the wrong button. We do what we have to do. I mean, again, if this team is just going to fall flat on its face again, what's the point of sticking with it? So, I mean, in terms of the formation, let's just go back to... I don't even know. Do we go with something a bit more defensive? What's the worst that could happen? Going with something a bit more defensive. How could that possibly go wrong? Let's try it. Especially against Man City. Not the worst idea. So Cooper can sit for Taylor, who is now up to the same overall, which is pretty nice. Mathis will not be able to play in this game. So Clark will start out on the right, more than likely. We will go with Park. Let's go with, let's get James and Taylor in there. Let's get Gagnon in there. And in fairness, I think we're going to have to make another move, more than likely. Yeah, we're going to have to change up something else a little bit here too. Just because Park is dead tired. So let's get Sullivan in there. I mean, it's a decent back five. Jonathan David is not scoring goals, but he'll still take his place up top. It'll be Clark on the left, or Davies on the left, Clark on the right. In the midfield will be Kerr and Cooper, who have both shown the ability to actually score goals, a rarity for quite a few people in this team. And we will go with Baliska on the bench. Let's get more in there. And let's see if we can beat Man City. Even if we do, we need Braga to fall. Otherwise, god damn it, if they haven't fixed this for 20, I'm not even doing a series at all. It is so goddamn annoying that is still broken. It's unbelievable. They said they fixed it too, and they never fixed it throughout the entirety of FIFA 19. Just embarrassing on their part. We need Moscow to win, or at least draw, and we need to beat Man City here. Don't like my chances, but it is the home leg. Can we get a win? We cannot, so we are out of the DFB Pokal. We are out of the Champions League. And this season, where we wanted to try and set it up for us to have some success at the end, might turn out to be one of our worst seasons in our Bundesliga tenure. I mean, already, you can kind of get a look at how the table's going. There's 20 games left. We are 11 points back of Borussia Mönchengladbach, the winners. So I genuinely do not know what to do with this team because we are not scoring goals. Like, we cannot score a goal right now to save our frickin' lives. So what is one to do is the question. Let's go back to an old reliable formation. Because what could go wrong? I would say let's sit whoever's, in poor form. The problem is almost everybody on the team is in poor form. So that would certainly limit our options. You know what? Michaels. Screw it. You get an opportunity, buddy. You do. Why not? Gagnon, you might be taking a seat. Let's bring in Park. And unfortunately, we don't have enough people who aren't in poor form on the defensive side of things to have everyone take a seat. I don't know what to do with this team anymore, guys. I gotta be honest. I'm already, I don't want to say disinterested, but I'm already extremely disheartened. How could I not be? How could I not be? This team just hasn't shown up for this episode. Hey guys, it's the final episode. Oh, and you're just gonna shit all over yourselves. That's what you're gonna do. You're just not gonna show up, and we're gonna end this series and FIFA 19 on a whimper. That's cool. Happy to see that. Happy to see that. Kerr, you still don't score goals. Let's play the other Kerr up top, because we can. And let's bring White there. Play him with Cooper in the midfield. And that works for me. So Sullivan will sit for you. Bring you on. And Sullivan's actually in pretty good form, but we'll start him on the bench. So I think I'm probably done with mixing. My fucking god, EA, it's disgraceful. It is just disgraceful. Are you kidding me? Jesus. Probably done changing up the formation. If we can't beat Freiburg, then what hope in hell do we have of making up an 11-point deficit? 2-1 win. Moore gets the winner off the bench in the 89th minute. Cooper scores as well. And we have a rare win this episode. We are still in 8th in the league. However, of course, our attention is 100% set on the league at this point. There will be no domestic success as far as the tournament is concerned. We're out of the German Cup. At the end of the day, we won the Europa League, but the Champions League we just could not conquer. So that brings us to this situation here, and the last hope that we have, which is trying like hell to win the Bundesliga. Can we beat Leipzig? Yes, we can. So we may have found something that works for us. A nice 2-0 win there. I'm almost tempted to change things up. I wonder how beneficial Kerr is up top as an attacking threat. But a win over Mainz here could see us. I'm just going to keep running with this team. A win over Mainz could see us back into the top 6. And we lose 2-1. So there goes your good momentum. Maybe we were a bit too tired, but that still sucks. We are currently in 7th as of Christmas, as we head into the January break. Of course, we won't be making any moves. We're just going to continue to ignore the emails to the best of my ability, and we're going to focus on doing whatever the hell we can. Ignoring the training sessions as well, and just seeing what happens. So let's do it. Let's keep simming. Let's get to our next game. And hopefully the results can continue to come, and that we can actually do relatively okay, and maybe make the final few months of this sim relatively interesting now that we've hit the halfway point of the year. Swig of the beverage. Because is it really worth making a jump cut for 1 second of silence? You decide. You be the judge. You can do it. I believe in you. So we're outside the top 6. We are out of every other competition. Again, not exactly what you would hope for in what is supposed to be the miracle run at the end of the series. We're supposed to be better than this. We're supposed to be able to accomplish more. Yet here we are, horrified that we are going to fall short and ultimately be successful in a way, but very much remembered as underperformers. Underachievers. The Europa League's nice, but I don't want the Europa League and the DFB Pokal. I didn't plan on that being the pinnacle for this team. Especially when you look at the front 3 that we have, as I honestly, guys, I think we're done already. I think we're done already. And it's a damn shame. But we're still in 8th. And depending on where Borussia Mönchengladbach. Not Werder Bremen, but depending on where they are, point-wise, especially after this game, it could be too damn much to overcome. I don't really see what we're going to do here. I really don't. Let me take a look quickly at the squad hub. In terms of goals, so, I mean, yeah, Davies has 3 goals all year. Davies has as many goals as Gagnon. That is horrifying. Kerr has 1 goal to this point, which is also absolutely horrifying. So how, again, I mean, I don't know. I genuinely do not know what I want to try and do for this team at this point. Is there anything that can be done with this team at this point? That is the real question. We'll go back to the top 3. And I think I'm okay with that midfield. We'll just try a slightly different setup. Take the Liverpool approach, I guess. Son of a bitch, EA, come on. Every fucking time, huh? Every one. I'm not even switching Clark and Davies. I don't care. I don't care enough to. We've played them on opposite sides before. We need a win here against Leverkusen. No doubt about it. Or we are totally screwed. You know, it's frustrating to watch the dream of the miracle season just disappear before your eyes. Like, my God, we have a chance. The perfect storybook ending. Nope. I mean, we have been bounced down to the Europa League. We're scheduled to take on Valencia, which doesn't really help, I gotta be honest. It really doesn't. We'll take on Cologne. And as far as this team is concerned, I mean, right. Let's go with Cooper. Like, who do you play when everybody's in poor form? That's my question. Who do you play when everybody is in poor form? That is the million-dollar question right there. It's unbelievable. This sucks. This does. This sucks that I'm having to question this much about this team. Can we beat Cologne on the road? We can. Kerr, of all people, replacing Jonathan David, gets a 90th minute winner. That's just his 2nd goal for the club. As we move into our round of 32 matchup against Valencia in a tournament that we don't really care to be in, yet we have to be. Been there, done that. This is not the grail that we wanted. Not at all. Tell you what, I'm intrigued. I wonder if calendar simming is any more effective. Let's find out. Let's find out. I want to sim to March 1st, and we're going to see if calendar simming is any more effective. Maybe the AI that takes over for me can get a little bit of mojo going. Maybe, maybe not, but it's worth the shot. I mean, people for NHL think that there's a major difference between simming the games and calendar simming, and I'm inclined to agree. So FIFA-wise, what are the differences? Have we found any results? We beat Valencia. No, we didn't. We're out of the Europa League too. Lost to Bayern, beat Bremen, drew Hoffenheim. Oh, cool. So still just as inconsistent as ever. That's the team we all know and love. We are on 33 points. We're out. There's no way we're making up a 15-point deficit with 11 games to go. I will sim to the end of the year, but this is officially over. Our ceiling, ultimately, the Europa League and a German Cup. Not a bad showing. But when you think of the humble beginnings, we start off with guys like Boosty in goal, and Mandrakar, James, Kay, and Piet. And where we started with this team, what we turned it into, good journey, fun. But ultimately it ends up being disappointing because you have the likes of Cooper and Taylor and some very, very good players. Peter Gagnon's a 94. But ultimately, again, the ceiling was the Europa League and the DFB Pokal. This team, I feel, should have been capable of making something happen. And ultimately, the big players, Davies, David, the two faces of the series, I would say, ultimately, I feel like they disappointed. And again, I think that is ultimately how this series will be remembered. For me, at least, is wasted potential and wasted opportunities. We're going to sim to the end of this season just to see where we ultimately stand. But bounced from the German Cup, bounced from the Champions League, bounced from the Europa League, and we may not even finish in the top 6 this year in the Bundesliga. A very disappointing year, all in all. As no matter what we did formation-wise, personnel-wise, it just never seemed to work. And you look at the AI, with who they were able to get going offensively, and just Clark, Davies, David, never really quite hitting the offensive output numbers that they should have. David at one point did. And it appears to be more of a fluke than anything at this stage. But hey, it is what it is. And like I said, ultimately, good journey, accomplished some things, and we have been terminated. As we let the AI take control, and the game wasn't a big fan of that. Had a feeling that might happen if we went that hands off. Not the way I thought this episode or this series would end, but you don't always get the storybook ending. And unfortunately, this last season just proved to be an outright disaster. So, it sucks, because it's never easy to end a series, especially when you get fucking shit canned after your team completely blows it. But, all in all, a good foundation for this type of series for us on this channel moving forward. And again, maybe it's time to start anew. Same challenge, new destination. We'll see what happens. I thank you guys for watching and supporting this series. And again, very happy to have FIFA in the rotation as far as franchise mode type series. As far as taking this to the next level or whatever, we'll see. And as far as what happens next, we shall see. But again, wasted potential for the Canadians of Kaiserslautern. Ultimately, the story of this series.